Coming up on AC 24/7, the potential arrest of a former president seems imminent, the charges former President Trump could face, and how law enforcement across the country are preparing. Plus, storm cleanup in California is underway, but residents aren't seeing the last of the storms. And a blast from the past, fans of a 90s classic will finally get a sequel. Hey there, welcome to AC 24/7. I'm your host, Lamar Baldwin. For the first time in history, a former president of the United States may be indicted for a crime. A grand jury investigation into it is set to end, and now the former president is bracing for possible arrest. Meanwhile, law enforcement at every level are preparing for protests that could likely follow. The Advocate Channel's Gloria Pazimo is in New York with the latest.
And all morning here outside of Manhattan Criminal Court, we have been watching the NYPD bring in some barricades and install a security camera at one point this morning, all in preparation for the possible arrest and indictment of former President Donald Trump, who said that he expects to be arrested on Tuesday. Now, that historic event is going to be creating serious safety and logistical challenges for local authorities here who are preparing for the possibility of unrest. In a Truth Social post on Saturday, former President Donald Trump said he expects to be arrested on Tuesday.
I think it's not speculation. It's something that we're hearing. He needs to get ahead of it.
While there's no official word yet from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, grand jury proceedings are nearing the end, with the last-minute witness set to testify Monday at the request of Trump's legal team, according to a source familiar with the investigation.
This would be historically groundbreaking moves for a misdemeanor to try and bring it up to a charge where you're arraigning a former president.
Trump is being investigated for his role in an alleged hush money scheme involving payments made in 2016 by his then attorney Michael Cohen to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. An indictment would be a historic first and could make Trump an even more divisive figure on the campaign trail.
It does drastically change the paradigm as we go into the 24 election.
Echoing his calls for action after the 2020 election, Trump told his social media followers to, quote, protest and take our nation back.
If was this to happen, we want calmness out there.
Federal, state, and local authorities now preparing for the possibility of unrest.
We're always monitoring the situation here as best we can, and we obviously don't want to see any activity grow violent.
Now, while the prospect of a presidential arrest and an indictment of a former U.S. president would certainly be historic, it would not be that different from any other arrest from anyone here in New York. Former President Trump is expected to surrender to the authorities. He would be booked and processed. He would be fingerprinted. A mugshot would be taken. And then we believe that he would be released on his own recognizance. The Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, in a memo to his staff over the weekend, speaking to concerns about safety, saying he is working with local law enforcement to ensure everything goes as planned. Reporting from Lower Manhattan, Gloria Pazimo, back to you.
One of the two Americans who survived a deadly kidnapping in Mexico says he is grateful to be alive. Eric Williams was one of the 4 Americans taken hostage in Mexico in what was believed to be a case of mistaken identity. Williams was shot in the leg and has undergone several surgeries to repair the damage. Williams thanked his supporters from his hospital bed. A senior Memphis police officer who was on the scene during the arrest of Tyre Nichols retired before he could be fired. That's according to new documents obtained by CNN. Lieutenant Dwayne Smith resigned in February, a month after he was advised of disciplinary charges against him, including neglect of duty. A hearing on those charges was set for March. Smith was the most senior officer at the scene and is accused of failing to take command in the supervisor role. Smith was a 25-year-old veteran of the department. He was not criminally charged in Nichols' death. California is cleaning up after storms left tens of thousands of people without power. The Advocate Channel's Emily Schmidt reports.
Last year, more than 190,000 people visited Yosemite National Park in March. But this year, the park has been closed since February 25th. Hit by a series of storms that dumped 21 inches of rain in some part, more than 15 feet of snow in others. This Saturday, the park plans limited access to Yosemite Valley for the first time in 3 weeks, seeking normalcy like so many places in California.
What can we do? We just have to sit it out.
Even sitting it out isn't easy. A Bear Valley ski patrol before and after comparison shows powder up to the ski lifts, and thousands of people are sitting in homes without power.
We are moving heaven and earth here. All our crews are out working and trying to get you back in lights as quickly as possible.
Satellite photos from the European Space Agency show just how much sediment from water rushing down hills washed into the Pacific Ocean during the recent storms. When California Governor Gavin Newsom toured Monterey County this week, the county sheriff said, quote, "Everybody's tired" from the cleanup efforts. The governor called the quick switch from drought to extreme flooding weather whiplash. Houses await repairs, so do cars as damaged roads emerge.
I was just hearing this big bam, bam, bam right there on the bottom of my car, and what do you know, I look at that dashboard and then there's the tire, low tire pressure.
Even as Yosemite partially reopens, it says winter weather is forecast again next week. More uncertainty on the way. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Global efforts are underway to restore financial stability following the second and third largest bank failures in history. The Advocate Channel's John Lawrence reports.
Hours after UBS, Switzerland's largest bank, agreed to accumulate the ailing Credit Suisse in an emergency buyout,
the takeover of Credit Suisse by UBS is the best solution for restoring the confidence that has been lacking in financial markets recently.
The Federal Reserve and other global central banks announced a coordinated effort they say will, quote, enhance the provision of liquidity via the standing U.S. dollar liquidity swap line arrangements. In layman's terms, they want to keep credit available for households and businesses. But some analysts still have concerns and questions.
What happens to the rest of sort of these regional mid-sized banks in the United States? Are they going to face outflows this week? Are people going to be nervous about banks who are sitting on a lot of unrealized losses or banks who have a lot of uninsured depositors?
Goldman Sachs says there's a 35% chance of the U.S. entering a recession within the next year due to these banking problems. That's a 10% hike since the start of the crisis.
We don't know what's going to happen. We do know that financial instability threatens what has been a very strong economic recovery. And for that reason, we need to act forcefully and with clear communication to prevent any contagion in our financial sector.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Healthcare professionals are worried about a shortage of diabetes medication. Ozempic. Telehealth and social media are driving an increased demand for the drug. Diabetic patients rely on the medication to help control their blood sugar, but Ozempic is also very similar to drugs that mimic an appetite-regulating hormone. Some experts believe the prescription weight loss drug market is also playing a part in the demand. The FDA announced a shortage of Ozempic last August. Actor Lance Reddick, known for his roles on The Wire and John Wick, has died. Co-star Winnow Pierce remembered Reddick as a man of great strength and grace. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Are you ready for a sequel? That's right, the popular 90s movie and Nickelodeon sketch show is getting a sequel with the original stars of the film Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell. Good Burger 2 is set to begin production in May. Thank you for joining us for AC 24/7. For more content that advocates to you, go to advocatechannel.com and make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Lamont Baldwin.